You saw me kind of take a nice deep breath. I feel like that's something that we all need to do right now, right? My name is Nicholas Ashbaugh. It's so good to see everybody, especially all of my viewers in Southern California. This has been a tumultuous week, right? I'm very lucky to be able to be broadcasting same time, same place. So many of my fellow Angelinos don't have a house right now, right? So I just want to send a lot of love and light to everybody. I thought it was really important to show up today because we need normalcy, right? And no matter where you're watching or what you're going through, I hope that this hour and a half or so, however long we go today, provides some solace and some guidance. And I'm happy to be here, okay? Welcome to not the monthly reading, but the weekly collective. So the weekly collective is a chance for us to get together, and I think this is really important. Like I said, during moments where there's difficulty, I felt that when I did the COVID readings back in the day. I haven't felt that kind of level of energy since that. So no matter where I was like, somehow we'll figure out how to do this weekly reading today. So a couple of notes as I get started here. This is just going to be very much in the flow. I think what I'm going to do today is pull a regular Celtic cross, and then I'm going to go into areas that I feel guided to look at. And then we'll sort of like leave health, wealth, love, and destiny for the monthlies, and we'll take care of it next week. I did a very similar thing around New Year's. So from time to time, I like to disrupt the normal weekly because sometimes we have to, because there's more important things to look at. As I was getting ready this morning, I thought, what can we talk about? What should we talk about today? I think that one of the most important things that came to mind today was sorry, I am getting emotional because I am empathic and I'm picking up on all of that. But I have a guest on a podcast that will be coming out later this month. I just saw the final edit. It looks good. I'm going to just kind of leave that under wraps until we release it. But one of the topics we talked about was we have all these little lines on this globe, right? Every country, every province, every state. And we create these artificial senses of nation and culture, and I mean they exist, but we are also the planet. We are also connected, and we literally come from the primordial ooze of this planet. So I'm not just Californian, I'm an earthling, right? We're all earth, in addition to being of a nation, of a culture, of a gender, of a whatever. There's all these identifications that sometimes take away the interconnectedness. In a time like this where there's, a disaster, and we see this globally, we're not unique in California. I know many of the viewers in Australia have bushfires and deal with the very same thing that we do in California. But what I've liked seeing this week is that our neighbors to the north and south, not just the States, but also like Canada and Mexico have been coming through. Like we have firefighters here from other countries, which is amazing. And there's so much like divisiveness right now on the planet that it's very nice to see a cohesive, unified sort of like effort. If we just did this more often, imagine how much better life could be, rather than the rhetoric about pointing fingers and making all of this stuff more difficult than it needs to be. So there's actually something beautiful coming out of this. So we're going to focus on Earth itself because it's very much being disrupted. Grounding, because no matter what kind of change you're going through, whether it's gradual or like many people in Southern California, immediate and radical, it takes grounding to be able to figure out what the next moment is going to look like. So grounding, for sure, is something that we'll focus on. Change is something that we'll focus on. And destruction, tower energy is something that we'll focus on because it's all very relevant to everybody on the planet. Because, by the way, in addition to what we're going through, many people live in areas where there are typhoons, monsoons, or, hurricanes. There's earthquakes, there's floods, there's war, of course. There's so many things that everybody on the planet is dealing with in different pockets, in different countries, but we're all connected. So I'm going to try to bring us closer today, however I can. I'm going to do my best, folks. I only have an hour and a half, but I'll do what I can. It's really good to see you. Apollo's behind me. Let me see if I can pull up his camera. And I'm going to do my best to not get too emotional today because it is an emotional time. I haven't really felt it until I came on here because I feel what you're feeling. There's Apollo cleaning his face after he ate. Somebody asked about why he's still in a cone. He's healing, and basically he had a little bit of the wound looks good, but there was a little bit of a scab, and he kept licking at the scab. So probably on Wednesday, the soft cone will come off. So it's at least a little bit better. All right, let's get into the regularly scheduled program. By the way, standard disclaimers, well, not standard, unique disclaimers apply today. Because I'm in a zone where electricity and internet may go out, it may happen during this broadcast. I hope not, but if it does, I'll do my best to recover. Okay, let's all breathe. Put your feet on the ground or wherever you can. Let go. Let's look at the week ahead. Dare we? And we'll see, we'll see what's coming through. All right. Imagine yourself in a circle of safety, whatever that is to you. You could just imagine that you're tracing a circle around your body. And in this space, you are safe. You are connected to the planet. With or without the sun shining through, you always have the earth. It always has your back. Welcome in angels, spirit guides, and ascended masters. Okay, let's get started. We're going to begin with the energy of today. I actually love what I see here. So it's reverse, but what do we have here? Community. Three of Cups is community, small gatherings. It doesn't have to be big. So in life, whether we are faced with things like we're dealing with here in California, or it's something different, a life change where you're getting into something big or you're stepping away from something big, you realize that one of the most important things is the connection of people in your life. And oftentimes you can count it on a few fingers. It might be your immediate family. It might be your best friend. It might be your parent. It might be your child. It's those small groups where things matter. So in my daily reading today, everything will be a little bit more esoteric and deep this week probably, but it is just sort of like all the other stuff is just material. And it can be replaced. As someone who had to release stuff, not the same, not at all the same as the people who have lost stuff. I knew I had to release things. I had time. It was a decision, but it still hurt, and I didn't get it back, and I lost money. But an immediate loss of this is sort of like really discombobulating. So what you do in those periods is you lean on others. So if you've lost a loved one, if you've lost property, if you've lost just sort of grounding or connection, today is the day to reach out. You're here. So you're already in the Three of Cups energy. What we want to avoid right now is divisiveness and cliques, because there is that tendency, and also excessive things like drinking or sort of like moving into substances and stuff like that. So focus on the connections. Don't go to extremes. Be inclusive. Check in with people that you normally check into, or in with rather. And if you see someone, like it's kind of like if you're a student, for instance, and there's someone sitting over there and they look lonely, talk to them, you know? So let's reach out. Let's try to connect. This is interesting for Monday. So the Ten of Swords in reverse. She's moving on from something that is done, something that is over. The Ten of Swords is a punctuated ending. So in a relationship, it's usually you've signed the divorce papers and you've moved on, right? You're like done and dusted. In a job, it's when you quit, you go out the door, you're like, I'm never coming back. But at least I have the clarity of mind. With people here in California, this is a different kind of energy. Sorry. It's just about focusing on moving beyond the loss, right? What's cool in this is she's still standing. Normally the Ten of Swords, they're not standing, right? Sorry, I'm usually not emotional. But the Ten of Swords is an emotional card. So let it go. Move into the emotions if you need to. Also, she's choosing not to take the bait. So if there's someone in your life that likes to be argumentative, likes to kind of get under your skin. Usually we see this with the Five of Swords, but it's a little more intense with the Ten of Swords. It's basically to avoid, maybe even just cut out that connection, right? There's no more time, there's no more space for that. There is hope in this card. There always is hope in the Ten of Swords. In the traditional Ten of Swords, we see a dawn of a new day. In this version, the day has already started. She's just moving on. And so for many of us on Monday, it's about moving on. On Tuesday, we have a need to be honest with yourself and honest with others. Not to get distracted, not to let people. Again, I feel like for some of you, it's just like, is it worth it? Is it worth dealing with someone who doesn't come through on the promises that you expect them to come through on? It's not. So what we're really seeing over the next few days is a lens that helps us zoom in on what matters most. Be mindful of any sort of communication as we're looking here at Tuesday. So Monday is a recalibration day. Tuesday is a day where if there's something where someone's acting a fool, you're just like, I don't have time for this. If there's a contract and it doesn't feel right, push it back or say no. And for yourself, it's just a moment to get real with what you're supposed to be doing. So because this is deception, we deceive ourselves sometimes, right? We tell ourselves little white lies. It's going to be okay. I don't have to worry about this. I can do this tomorrow. So it's just taking accountability, holding other people to account, being honest and transparent. And if that honesty and transparency is not existing, it's going to be very important to find places where you don't have to do that much work to get what you deserve, right? Okay. As I was shuffling the cards, I'm like, come on, show me some upright cards. I'm not surprised that we have 3 reversals, given all the change. It's New Year. So let's just take all that's been going on over the last week out of the equation. Everybody is recalibrating. Everybody's trying to get used to typing the right date. I know on one of my posts I put 2024 and I had to revise that. It's taken us a moment to say this is a new year. New year, new you, new moment. And so give it time. But what we see here as we look at Wednesday is finding your zen. So in the normal Seven of Wands, a person is in a defensive stance pushing back. She's sort of saying, whatever's going to be is going to be. You can do this, you can say that, you can get defensive with me. I'm not going to take the bait again on that. Meditation is really important. You can manage a lot. This comes on the heels of the Six of Wands. So ostensibly, if you've worked through some of the challenges of the past couple of days, Wednesday gives you a chance to juggle a lot of things. And the most important thing here is to work as intelligently as, just basically work smarter. You don't need to be a martyr. You don't have to burn yourself out, and you don't have to say yes to everything. Discernment is another thing with the Seven of Wands here. Okay. Notice too that it doesn't even strike me as solar plexus, because solar plexus is more here. Here's your heart. This is almost like where our ego sits. So her ego's in check, and she's kind of keeping other people's ego in check. And it almost looks like a blending of the green. And to me, this feels like ego. So don't let your ego get in the way or anyone else's. Let's move on to Thursday. Surprises. Surprises can be good. Surprises can be challenging. Do your best to take a breath and ground yourself, kind of the theme of today's program. And once you've grounded yourself, get curious, get inquisitive, ask, lift up the rock and see what's underneath it. So we just don't accept things on face value with the Two of Swords. We try to find what we're looking for. I think the other thing here is there can be a question of, is this me? That's actually, I don't know why that came through intuitively, but is this for me? Does this feel right for me? You know, what is this? And sometimes we have to get critical like that and kind of do a little bit of digging. Like, is this relationship right for me? Is what you said in alignment with who I think I am? Does this job fit me? You're doing a little bit of inward work. Just because your two physical eyes are closed doesn't mean your third eye is or has to be. When we meditate, we close our physical eyes so we can see. Sometimes you have to stop looking so you can see, and that's the takeaway here. Look within. So we have rebirth. Thank goodness, at the end of the week. Friday, let it go. We have the Sun card in reverse. She's connecting to source energy. It almost looks like an egg. It can be, again, birthing, releasing, reinvention. It's hard to let go of things. Like, let's just take it on a regular read of this card. It could mean that you've been holding on to a project. Last night, even though I was tired, I needed to get it to my editor. I was like, let me watch the podcast. And as I finally looked at that, maybe because of the objectiveness of everything I did, I'm like, this is like one of the best things I've ever produced. I love it. Can't wait to share it. Sometimes you need to take a few steps back and then look at something again. You're like, what am I stressing about? We're done, dusted, publish it. So there could be something in your life where you've been holding on to it and it's done. This is also a sense of, for those that are going through a lot this week, hope comes back, clarity comes back, power comes back. But the sun is upside down and we need to get it spinning in the right direction. So don't underestimate your power to make change happen. My parents, who are in spirit, one thing that I really loved about both of them was tenacious energy, honesty. They never, they were someone that I could trust. They were hardworking. They were perseverant. They were not lazy. So what I kind of lean into when I go through challenges is that tenacity. I'm like, well, I don't know how I'm going to do it, but I'm going to do it. Maybe I can impart that on all the people that are challenged right now, whether it's health, relationship, or anybody that's going through loss. You find a power that you don't think you normally could have when you go through that. It's always there. It's always been there. But think of what the sun does. It has to, it's pulling around all the planets and their respective satellites and all the asteroids. It's like there's a lot of gravity and it puts a lot of energy into that. So when the things go, of course it would be wobbly and trying to figure out, well, where's my new center of gravity? You're finding your center of gravity on Friday. And when you find your center of gravity, you're okay. As we move into the weekend on Saturday, Knight of Wands in reverse, but have you noticed in this illustration, she's within the Four of Wands? It's not accidental. So you're actually setting a stage for something bigger or better when we're looking at partnerships. The way that you do that, the way that you attract it, whether you're looking for love or business or friendship, relationships, that is, march to the beat of your own drum. So we have a drummer in the foreground and we have like a wild stallion in the background. And it's basically both of them are just doing their own thing. When you are authentic, when you are yourself, when you are bold, then you start to find other people who aren't so worried about projections. And again, we're going back to that. The labels don't matter. We're in a time where it's really important to look past the labels because there are certain energies out there that want to divide, that want to, again, point fingers, and it's nonsense. It's complete and utter nonsense. We are all connected. Nobody's better or worse than anybody else. We have different opportunities and we've done different things with them, but it doesn't make anybody better or worse. In the same light, if someone's going through something, we can't diminish what it means just because of who they are, etc. So this is about not overthinking things. This is about seeing commonality. This is about holding space for other people who can do the same. It's a rebellious card. So be a little rebellious if you need to. All right, and at the end of the week, we have, or like next week, same time, Empress card. Power and grounding and wholeness within. So what I said at the beginning, I'm not Californian, I'm not American, I'm Earth, I'm you, I'm me, I'm we. We're all together, right? So she's embodying the interplanetary connectedness that's always there, but sometimes lost in the mix of all the other stuff. What can you do on Sunday? Anything you want to. This is a pretty powerful card. So it's a great day for starting a new project, a new endeavor, working on yourself, going into your boss power if you need to. Let's look at highlights and lowlights for the week, and then we'll move on to the elements. Okay. Highlights. I actually feel like everything starts to pick up around Friday. Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Friday and Sunday in particular, Sunday next, look amazing. The challenging days, the next 3, particularly Monday and Tuesday. So as long as you can get through that, I feel like everything else is manageable, to the best of your efforts, but it looks like it's okay here. All right, so let's move forward. We're going to go into an elemental breakdown looking at fire, earth, air, and water, and let's see what's coming through. Let's see what I want to use for this. I'm going to turn the camera down and make up my mind. Okay. Fire, earth, air, water. All right, we'll begin with fire, Aries, Leo, and Sagittarius. Quite good. Wheel of Fortune. So this is a great week to focus on your finances, your schedule, the way you're spending time and energy. It's not just money. The Wheel of Fortune is value, and you value different things with different amounts of resources, right? So time, energy, money, and also kind of like freeing yourself. We can look at the spider web on this card in 2 different sort of like perspectives. One is you reap what you sow, and every day the spider spins a web and is great at manifesting. So many times this will be on either the Wheel of Fortune or the 10 of Pentacles because it represents the top of your ability to manifest. So this week, Aries, Leo, and Sagittarius, you should be manifesting. You should be working on yourself, looking at your finances, looking at your budget. But the spider also has to clean that web. Things can get stuck in the web, so we want to look at what we're clinging on to, what's clinging on to us, clearing the cobwebs from our mind so that we can make room for new types of abundance. The spider believes that its meal will come before it comes. It knows it will come. It sets everything up, the stage. It sets the stage. So keep setting the stage. The spider web is also a trap. Avoid traps. One of the traps this week could be the 10 of Swords or 7 of Swords. So avoid an argument and call out anybody that's not doing what they're supposed to be doing, particularly since we're seeing a card associated with money or resources. This is cyclical. So World and 10 of Pentacles, Wheel of Fortune, they all kind of show like ends and beginnings of cycles. So you can start or you can stop something. It's a good week. Have fun, fire. All right, moving on to Earth. 8 of Swords in reverse. We have Taurus, Virgo, and Capricorn. Seeing things in a new light. Awakening, understanding, but also wondering, can I, should I, will I? There's a questioning piece to this because it's a prison of thought usually. We still see her kind of stuck in all the swords. It took a moment or two for all those swords to be put in place. It's going to take a moment or two for each of them to be pulled out. So I use questioning in that respect. Again, for the future guests, one of the things that they talked about was the beginning. God had a consciousness where they kind of said, what am I? And then eventually that kind of gets into I am, right? So it's okay to think, what am I? Where am I? What is this? How is this happening? Can I do it? Just stay in the questions and then go, how can I do it? How will I do it? I am doing it, okay? Always move yourself out of the prison of thoughts with insightful and positive leaning questions. There could be something that you didn't see initially. You have to deal with it this week. Please do. There may be preventative or proactive maintenance and work that needs to be done. Please do that as well. An ounce of protection, right? This is really what you want to be focusing on. All right, so that's for Taurus, Virgo, and Capricorn. Now let's move on to the air signs, Gemini, Libra, and Aquarius. This is nice. We have the Lovers. It is reversed. There could be more support than you were thinking. You deserve. There could be an opportunity that surpassed your expectations, an outpouring of love. You could also have unwelcome interest. If it's unwelcome, push it back. If it's something you didn't expect, recalibrate your worth, because the universe doesn't give you something that you don't deserve. Take care of yourself, ask for help if you need it, lean on the support of others, much like the Three of Cups, and focus on self-care and self-love. Like attracts like, so when we are completely in harmony with who we are, when we love ourselves, when we feel that sense of the Ace of Cups overflowing, then we pull in someone else that loves us unconditionally, which is kind of what this card represents with a reimagined Beauty and the Beast. So she sees past the facade. So you're asked also to see past this facade and to see within. And getting back into the general message of interconnectedness and unity on the planet, we're also asked to look at everybody, irrespective of other things that we've been taught makes us different, because it's just a label, right? It's not real. It's imaginary. It's a 3D thing that we've set up to make things harder than they need to be. So one other message for air signs is it could be easier this week if you let it be easier this week, right? Okay. Moving forward to water signs. Cancer, Scorpio, and Pisces, you came through with the moon card here. It's upright, so it is a card of power for you. What we are focusing on in this is the bridge over the water. So for many of you, you're finding a way to get over, past, or through something. You may also be learning to harness creativity, because the moon itself, we're going to have a full moon this week. I'll do my best to try to do a special short form video for that, all things cooperating here. But pay special attention to the full moon since you got the moon card, and lean into that energy of creation, again, birthing and release. And if anything comes to the surface, a fear, an anxiety, a projection, whatever, it's coming up for your own benefit, the lobster that's normally on this card. Remember, the lobster has a really hard shell, hard skin. So you can handle it. Whatever it's coming through this week, you've got this, all right? By and large, a pretty good week for all of the major elements and signs. I need to hydrate myself, which I'm going to do here in a moment. And then we're going to take a look at just whatever the heck needs to come through. We're going to do that kind of read first, and then I'm going to break it down into smaller questions and sections. And I may go to some of your questions. By the way, thank you to everybody that put some ideas on like what you want me to follow in the future. Like, I'm going to take some of those and use them to refresh what to vote on. Today, I may just go with the flow, because I'm honestly, there's my mind and energies in so many different places that I'm just going to go where the intuition takes me, rather than get distracted in questions. But I'm not discarding them. I'm going to use those for probably the next month to create new topics, because there were some great responses. So I just want to say that. Today, I just didn't even know how I was going to show up, because this is crazy times, like I said. All right, give me a second here. Let me decide on the deck that I want to use. I think I'm going to use this one. This is a great one. All right, let's ground ourselves one more time, and we'll do a meditation for healing for the entire planet. Because like I said, everybody needs it. Doesn't matter where you're at. Okay. Really put your feet on the planet. Really feel, let's imagine you're at the beach. We'll go back to this later in the meditation, but the sand beneath your feet is warm. The sun above you is warm. There's clean air, something we so need in LA, but there's clean air coming through your lungs, and you feel the sun warming up your body. Again, welcoming in angel, spirit guides, ascended masters, whatever everybody that watches this live or on replay needs to see, bring it through. Stay positive and affirmative. I see some thoughts, where the emotions are heavy. It's okay to have the emotions. Let's not bring fear into the reading. Let's focus on imagine, if you will, as I'm pulling the cards, that the fog, that the smoke, that the mist is clearing, and you just have a clear path in front of you. That's why we show up. I don't infuse fear or lower energies into the reading. I don't ignore them, but I don't welcome them in. Let's put it that way. All right, I'll pull one catalyst, but like I said, we don't need to take this into health, wealth, love, and destiny because I'm going to look at different things today. I'm just going to put it off to this side. Okay, wow, it's a beautiful card for today. So we have cedars, sacred, medicine, beautiful tree sprouting up there and growing, and again, a big planetary sort of grounding energy here as well. One thing that I was thinking of is what a fire does. It clears, right? So one of the things that we'll be looking at probably when I ask extra questions is what do we need to clear? So because that is like the biggest totem that is coming through for me for obvious reasons. I did receive some dream messages, but I'll look at those later if we have time. Right now, I just want to allow the cards to do their work and the guides to do their work. But as we're talking, I want to focus on clearing as we look at the deep past, what is necessary, what needs to be cleared. And, certain species of plant and tree have seeds that require the intensity of a fire in order to break through, like the cotyledon or the outer shell, so that they can germinate. So sometimes there are wildflowers and trees that once there's a little bit of rain can pop through the ash, the soot, and the destruction. So one thing that I'd also like to do is to look at what seeds of hope we can plant afterwards. Let's write these questions down. They're good. Actually, let's pause. Let's just look at them right now because I've got them and I don't know if I'll still have them at the end. So I'm going to just pull an extra one and say, what do we need to release? This is why I'm doing it in the flow. What do we need to release? Interesting. And very interesting. And what seeds can we plant in the ash and the dust and the soot? Figuratively and literally speaking. Wow. Okay. We're going to start with that. So what do you need to let go of? For some of you, you've done everything you need to in the Ten of Pentacles. The Ten of Pentacles represents a job, a family, a contract, and also kind of like a life path. When we're looking at the beautiful tree and all the rings in that tree, we go through a bunch of trials and tribulations. And at some point, whatever your Ten of Pentacles moment is, because there's so many things comprised in the card, there just comes a point where you think, I think I'm done with this. Could be, like I said, a relationship, a place that you're living, a job in which you're working. There can be an actual celebration like graduation, retirement, marriage, or divorce, whatever it is. But then it's sort of like, I'm done with it. But it's complete. And also, just because the tree is cut, it does not mean that it wasn't there or it didn't do its work. So it's just about letting it go. And then there's actually, it's an upgrade. So you get ready for an upgrade. So you let go of the Ten of Pentacles. You can plant the seed of intention for the King of Pentacles. That's the top of the suit. So you're springboarding all the way to the top. And sometimes we have to have the liberation of, there's nothing tethering me here anymore. What do I want to do next? You don't have to rinse and repeat. Uprooted, you're uprooted, because we could also just imagine that that tree is being transplanted or uprooted. So you can plant roots again. As someone who enjoys gardening, though I don't have a balcony anymore, but one of the cool things with plants is you can propagate. So you can cut certain things. A perfect example and an obvious one is like a spider plant. You can just break it off, put it in water or put it in soil, and it just sprouts, right? Like one of the little baby spiders. But lots of other things, plumeria, for instance, can be rooted in the ground, or opuntia and other things like that. So there's an ability for you to create new roots, new ground. So try not to rinse and repeat. Try to think of other things that you could do when facing a change. I mean, ultimately, change is You're supposed to change. So think about that. Okay. Now let's leave these to the side. If I get other questions, I'm just going to look. They're not even clarifications. They're offshoots, new starts as I'm looking through the reading. That's why I'm not doing the expanded. We don't need that every week. You have the monthlies for that. Okay, let's take a look at your center card, Queen of Wands in reverse. So many of you are deeply entrenched in thought. There can be great creative seeds that come from that, but there can also be overthinking. Anything you can do today and over the course of the next 7 days to get out of the sense of, like, my math meme graphic, I'll pull it here, but like, what about this? And what if that happens? And we don't want that. We want to go from that to this. Just like, let's do it. Let's spark it into creation, right? So don't overthink. Get into that energy of movement. You've got something that you can take to another level. Queen of Wands in reverse. She's tired of being bossed around. She wants to be the boss. So one thing that you might decide to change in your life is, finding relationships, opportunities, and environments where your voice is heard and respected, and you have more autonomy, you have more control, you can make more of an impact. She's a leader, not a follower. The sunflower is heliotropic, it's going to follow her. So basically it follows the sun. But the Queen of Wands is the fire, she is the light, she is the inspiration. So one other message coming through from Spirit is stop following and start leading. And it doesn't have to be in business. It could just be in some aspect of your life. Don't wait for something to happen, make it happen. Because it's going to take off. Beautiful Eight of Wands. I love all the sort of like umbrellas. It's like a parachute. So all of these things are going to create liftoff, but they have to be put into motion in order to do that. And normally, these are like rocket ships or, just basically they're all thrown in the air at the same time in the same direction. If you throw your energy and your intention behind something, you can get through this. Also, again, for my fellow Californians that are going through a hard time and anybody that's going through difficulty, you have to kind of get perspective. We have to get above the layer of clouds. If you look at my Instagram, even my short, I put it here too, you'll see that there were days where I couldn't even see the city because of the clouds. So you have to, and I'm at a decent vantage point. So sometimes you have to even get beyond that. But it could be just the thoughts in your head, and you have to lift yourself up beyond that. Let's see what else is out there. All right, karmically, this is really what needs to be released. The devil, is still a devil. Protecting your heart and closing it off doesn't allow for new growth and new opportunity. So don't allow yourself to sort of don't sell yourself short. Don't get pulled into things that undervalue, underrepresent, or underappreciate you. Things being relationships, jobs, opportunities, activities. Anything where people lock you. I like that they put all these padlocks here, but it's sort of like they're locking down your potential, tamping down the potential. Sometimes it can be because they're afraid of letting you, they don't want to see you go. So in a workplace, for instance, it's not promoting you because they want to keep you in that position because they need you there, but they're not actually allowing for the growth. You might not be getting paid enough or appreciated enough. In a relationship, you're doing the lion's share of the work and not getting enough back. So we're looking for equity. However that kind of cycles into your life, whatever equity means or wherever it's lacking, now is the time to fight for it and to open up your heart to receive more. Whoever told you couldn't do it or you weren't worth it or it's not going to happen, baloney. You start to think, I'm going for it. I'm seeing how far I can go. Because if we were told we could never leave the planet, we would never have really invented rocket ships and airplanes and satellites and things like that. So just because it hasn't been done doesn't mean you can't do it. Open yourself up to receive and change what you think you might be able to receive. So we saw a limit. I want you to go further. All of this or greater. You can just add it to whatever your wish is. Dear universe, I'm ready to receive all of this or greater. Because the universe may see your value even if you don't. And then when it comes in, just accept it and embrace it. So we have all these beautiful moths and butterflies coming out of that cup, transformational energy, something new, something bigger, something brighter. That's why we have to kind of go beyond what's expected. You may be opening yourself up to heightened relationships, better relationships. That's cool. Even if you're not, just receiving your heart's desire, because the Ace of Cups is connected to the heart, which was kind of like, again, locked up here. All right. Let me look at this one. But again, I need a little more to drink. The Emperor in reverse. Many of you are challenged by conventional wisdom, because that is the Emperor. It can be like a very paternal, very patriotic energy. So you're kind of like trying to fight the patriarchy, but you're also going against conventional wisdom, ancestral wisdom, parental, grandparent, all that stuff. And you're like, that doesn't make sense anymore. It's very last century. So there's something that you're breaking through where you don't need the approval of the establishment, the previous generation, or even an old trusted advisor, because you've outgrown that and you've been encouraged, forced, whatever, to look beyond it. So someone around you is wagging their finger or shaking their head, and it's because they're rigid. They haven't had to transplant themselves. They haven't had to try something different. Doesn't mean that what you want to do can't happen. That's all I'm getting from this. Also, just don't underestimate your power, because that's a very empowered card, and when it's reverse, it's something you might want to focus on finding within. Things can start to move quickly and more quickly than you might imagine. Not as fast as maybe the Knight of Swords, but fast. Knights move with great speed. Pentacles take a little longer to grow, though, than just spreading word, which is kind of like what the Knight of Swords is. So regrowth, rebounding, rebirthing, reinventing, which is very much appropriate to everyone on the planet, especially those of you in LA, it can happen faster than you think. Seek someone who sees you for who you are and really see yourself first. It has to start within, but find a like-minded individual who isn't judgmental, doesn't take you for granted, doesn't boss you around, who just sees you as the loving, deserving, amazing, fruitful, because the Knight of Pentacles is someone who can create and bring about things, person that you are. Let me finish my thought. All right, how are you showing up? Two of Cups in reverse. So we keep, this could very much apply to the air signs. I believe you had the Lovers. Correct me if I'm wrong. Whoever had the Lovers in reverse, this has to do with you. So for some of you, you may be so tied up in a particular relationship that already exists, and it doesn't have to be love. This could be a friendship, a parent, someone else in your life that you're not seeing the other opportunities out there. This can't, to me, this feels very, the word that comes to me is like it's strangling, but there's a better word. Restrictive, that's it. And clingy. So there's something that is kind of holding you in, holding you back. Open up a little bit. Step away from that. There may be someone who just needs too much, and it's like a codependency, or they haven't found their power or strength. Give them space. Give yourself space, and breathe. And that is going to allow you to see something that is a little more in harmony, right? So in the upright position, this would be someone who has the very, there's almost too much commonality, right? So one of the things that you want to focus on is allowing both sides to kind of breathe and not feeling like you have to be on the same page at the same time all the time. Like, celebrate your differences. I'm just looking at the original feed here to see if it was reversed, and it was. So just taking a step back, giving yourself, giving your partner, giving your friends some space, seeing how you feel once you have the space, and not holding on or clinging on too much, too fast. And if you find yourself maybe needing too much from one person, focus on, I can do this. I'm going to try this. Like I said, often it doesn't happen until the person's not in your life, whether separation, divorce, or death. There does come a point where you have to rely on yourself and you're like, I really could do this all along, couldn't I? Okay. So I'm giving you this gift right now. Whatever it is that you think you absolutely need from that person, you have it within. And whatever they think or demand or maybe even guilt you into thinking that they need from you, they have it within. This is true, especially of a boss that says, don't leave me. What am I going to do without you? I don't know. You seem to cope when I wasn't here before. You can do it. Or relatives that might be trying to hold you in place. Don't move away. What will I do? You have to be able to live your life, right? And they too have to find ways to not have you be the sun that everything rotates around, okay? So that's kind of what I'm getting here. You'll figure out what it means for you, but time, space, distance, and healthier boundaries in existing relationships. For everybody else, just open yourself up to receive. Like I said, love could be knocking on the door, and you might just think, I don't know if I can receive it. If it's there and you're deserving, bring it on. All right, in the environment, there could be someone around you that is not the kindest. This is around you. So I like the Queen of Swords. I'm air, so Queen and King of Swords represent air signs. But a reverse Queen of Swords in the environment is tricky. She tends to be overly critical. She tends to not check to see if it's a good time to talk. You might get a text way too late. If it's a boss, she's not respecting boundaries. I'm using she as just a general term, he or she. So boundaries. I remember when my dad was sick once, I got a text and someone was asking me for stuff and it was bold and it wasn't probably the best. I took a picture of him. He was sick. I said, I'm taking care of a bigger project right now, something more important. I'll get back to you tomorrow. They were like, no problem. I had it up to here. They knew that I was taking care of a sick relative and I'm like, leave me alone. This is not important. This is minor. And it brought it in context. They needed to see a sick person in order to see like, oh, this is really selfish for me to be asking for this when someone's off after hours. So have a boundary. Sometimes you have to be the Queen of Swords right back and say, no, it's inappropriate. I'll do this tomorrow. You can Queen of Swords it right back, but don't say anything cruel. I was just very clear. Not now. I'm not working today. I'll deal with this tomorrow. If someone's saying something that's wrong or they're being cruel, let's not have this conversation right now. I don't like where it's headed. You can just be firm and clear and strong. Bring it from your stomach. Bring it from your belly. Speak in a different tone. And don't question the tone. Just say, not now. Okay. Boundaries are important. I don't do that all the time. I very rarely did. I was surprised I did it in the moment. I was stressed out. Stress sometimes helps us find our voice, right? So if you feel bad later for saying something where you had a boundary, don't, as long as you weren't mean about it. If you just said no, that's part of our vocabulary. It's a powerful word. You can say it when you need it. Hopes, fears, and opportunities. So as I'm starting to look at all the love cards coming through, it really does feel like there's an outpouring or an outreaching energy that wants to come forth. Welcome it in. This is good. 10 of Cups is good. I love the little school of fish on this one too. So the universe is opening up an upgrade. If you don't like the relationship you're in right now, by the way, the 10 of Swords could be divorce, estrangement, and we saw it coming through this week for some of you. It feels like I'll never be able to find that again. You don't know that. You're creating a self-fulfilling prophecy. Don't say that. Tell the universe I'm ready to receive something like this or better, because maybe there is better. Maybe I've moved beyond it. Maybe this ended for a reason, whatever this was, this person, place, or thing. So you're opening yourself up to receive the upgrade, because I'm seeing consistent cards, Ace of Cups, Two of Cups, Lovers, and now the 10 of Cups in different placements, different days, different signs. But it's a common theme as I keep seeing all these positive water signs or water cards. Okay. By the way, this is a great card for those of you that maybe just started school, because we're in a new semester. Some of you might have started in the winter. Maybe you changed schools. Maybe you're going back to school, whatever. I'm looking at the School of Fish. I like it. I like this for you. And if you want to go back and get some sort of just a single class or training or GED or whatever it is that you want to do, school is good right now. Training is good. That could bring on something really fun. Not just a partnership, but like joy. Okay? So finally, we've got a Nine of Cups in the upright position, which can be a recalibration and a moment of celebration. I was texting with a former neighbor that I met yesterday just to check in on, and we exchanged some supplies because we wanted to just have some things like water and things like that, make sure that we're good in case anything happens with not being able to drink the water here. But anyway, she texted me later and said, I'm grateful for you. I'm going to put some stuff in the gratitude journal, but that's one of the things, which was sweet. And so it can be a friendship, a relationship, something that you have that's an opportunity or a blessing that maybe others don't. And then share a little bit if you can too, because we have to give to receive. It's like it opens up this cyclical energy. So you could give a little time. You don't need to give money. You can just give time, listening ear, open your heart. You could share some resources. If you have extra, donate. We're in a time where, in LA, it could be going to give the firefighters something that they need, some water, some resources. It could be donating old clothing to people that need it. But it can also just be whatever you have to give. Because there is an abundance, there is an overflowing energy in the Nine of Cups. And one of the things with this is don't overdo it. So if you have more than enough, share it. If you need, ask. Whatever you're feeling, you're entitled to feel it, because I just read the Nine of Cups in a daily read. And so it's about feeling and working and moving through it, okay? But really focusing on gratitude. Gratitude changes your attitude, and it adjusts what can come through to you. I've said this before, but I know that there's new people that watch all the time, but I had Archangel Uriel once just say, it's in the same line of gratitude, but thanks. Uriel said, you could say thank you more. Like, it helps the angels work with you. It wasn't chastising, it was advice. When I say thank you for this, and thank you for being present, I open my heart, and the angelic energy can come through faster. And when you get into the energy of love, gratitude, and appreciation, the universe can flow through you with greater intensity, at greater speed, with greater results. So open your heart. Thank you. I appreciate you, etc. I appreciate this. Any form of true gratitude can be very, very helpful in this period. I'm going to reset the cards because I think we got everything we needed to out of this. Now I'm going to go wherever Spirit wants me to go. And I'll look at chat too, but I'm going to kind of focus on where I feel like we need to go, and then maybe I'll pull some cards for like just health and well-being and stuff like that. Looking at chat for a second here. I'm not going to worry about it because it'll distract me too much in this moment, so I'll look at it when I'm done here a little bit here, so hold on. Okay. So one of the things that I want to focus on is how you can get your grounding. That was what I was thinking of as I was taking a shower and walking the dog this morning. How can you find your grounding when you feel like everything's been sort of upended? And why? And it could be anything. We're not just looking, I'm looking globally. I'm reading for people all across the world. So think of something in your life before I pull the cards where you thought you could count on it, but it's not there. And I'm going to see why it's not there. Okay? It could be physical. It could be relationship. It could be financial. What is it? Keep it in your mind. I'm going to see why it's exited your life. Okay, let's zoom in now. So I asked why something left. When we look into the deep past here, we have Hierophant energy. Like I said, one of the common themes that I'm kind of picking up on right now is breaking down of old structures. And when we think of like what fire does, it clears things to the ground so something new can be built. And what we have here is a beautiful sprout in the form of the Ace of Wands. So there was a structure that once was very helpful, but it's not so much anymore. It doesn't necessarily represent what's needed right here, right now. So you're meant in this moment to take one thing from that experience and kind of move forward with that. I always like to think of Ace of Wands like the Olympian that kind of travels with the Olympic flame, whatever they're called, the champion or whatever. But they have to keep the flame moving, and then they pass it to the next person, who eventually is going to light the big fire at the end, right? It's symbolic, but essentially that one flame gets passed from torch to torch, and then that torch creates the bigger flame. All you have to do in this moment is keep the fire going in your heart, right? We're not talking about, but we're talking about the fire of passion. And you might think that it's extinguished, but it's not. How can you reignite it? Through hope, through talking to others, through reaching out and saying, I need a hand here. I have an idea. How can I make it work? Again, the biggest, so my undergraduate was journalism. And I understand why I went through it, because the whole purpose of journalism, besides telling a story, is asking the right question. So all you have to do in order to succeed and get past this moment is ask the right question of yourself and of others at the right time. And keep asking questions until you figure it out. And again, I've heard this from multiple sources. When you think like scientists, it's kind of poetic. But I really do think that the whole universe is just whatever you want to call the power that be, the powers that be, God or whatever. It's its own curiosity. What am I? How far can I go? What are the different versions of me that can exist? And we each are the universe. We can just use that rather than God because it gets misconstrued. The universe is curious. So the more curious we are, the more creative we can be. So if you can lean into your curiosity, you can find your creativity. Why not? That is a powerful two-word question. Why not? Little kids ask it all the time. They say, how come? Why not? ¿Por qué? However, whatever language it is, it's one of the first things we learn. Why? And it's a good question. Sometimes parents just say because. Because why? Why am I doing this? Why? Sometimes parents they're just holding up their hand and it's blocking you. So that hand is holding you up and you're coming through and saying, mm-mm. So I want you to find the inner kid and the inner why and think, why not? Why not try this? How can I do this? I'm not going to take no as an adult now for the answer. I am now my own mother, father, child, God energy. So I can figure out how to make it work. But you have to get past the block that society and the world has placed in your mind that told you couldn't, that tried to extinguish the Olympic flame that I was talking about earlier. It's still there. Ask the right questions. And in this moment, I really do think it's why not? One more time. So we have, look at this. We have this growth and outgrowth coming here, and we have two of the bossiest cards, Hierophant and Emperor, and they're right after one another. So the Emperor wants to control and constrain, especially when reversed. The Hierophant just wants organization and structure, and is so used to that structure that it can't see past it. It's kind of blind. In the traditional Hierophant, we have a papal figure, two disciples, two keys, but the Pope is holding up his hand, and it's like their way or the highway. It's just a structure. It was built. It continues to be used. Again, it can be government, it can be education, it can be religion. They're structures. They serve a purpose. But sometimes you have to ask yourself, what is that purpose and does it still apply? And then we have someone here that's a part of that structure, and they're like, but don't do that because of this. But you're like, but what about this? Science is always asking, what is this? What does this mean? How do I know? It's skeptical, it's inquisitive, it's curious. So be curious. You'll find your way through it, through asking internal questions, external questions, and picking up a resource, a phone, a computer, and I was going to say a book. We don't do that anymore. We we kind of tap in, asking ChatGPT, whatever, finding your resource and figuring out, how can I do this? And it really is an affirmative thing. How can I help? How can I learn more? Who can I talk to? What resources exist? Why did this happen? Be the journalist. You don't need to go to school for that. You have the ability to ask the questions always. I'm laughing at are we here yet? That is a great question too. So, I'm looking at what one of you wrote, Enzo, in the comments. So it's actually a good question. So what I'm going to do is take it and look at it, which is, how close are you to your destination? So I just happened to glance at chat and it helped me on that one. So thank you. How close? We're getting aces, folks. You're there. But the ace in reverse is showing me that don't be afraid in this moment to reach out and ask for more. Oliver Twist, can I have some more? But we're going to do it in a different way as an adult. We're not going to ask as a question. We're going to look, where can I find more? Not can I find it, but where can I find? So the helper words in the questions make all the difference. Just sharing some of my journalistic skills. You very rarely want to ask a yes-no question. You want to ask instead a how or a why. How did you come to this conclusion? Why do you believe that? Not do you believe it? Yeah, because you're not going to get an answer that's interesting. So in the same sort of respect here, you're going to ask, how and where can I find it? Not can I, you can. That's answered, done and dusted. You're going to look for places that it exists. So where can I get more? How can I find this out? Who can help me? Those are the questions to ask, not can you get it? I answered it, yes. You got to look in different places. You got to dig. The Ace of Pentacles in reverse is digging. We've gotten two aces. There might be two opportunities, two directions, two different people that you can go to during this period of time. But we're looking at newness, ones, beginnings. We just came through 111, right? January 11th. So now we're looking at all these ones coming through again, making sure that you're looking at the aces in this moment. Yeah, I was looking at the comments. I do think it's good to question things. That was why when I was a child, my mom let me drop out of... I went to my mom was raised as Roman Catholic, but I didn't want to go to Sunday school anymore. I'm like, this doesn't make sense for me. But I still appreciate the religious grounding that I had. It gave me perspective, but I was like, they're just asking me to believe everything without being inquisitive. I got in trouble for asking too many questions. They're like, you just have to have faith. But I'm like, but that doesn't make sense. But how about this? But why about that? So that's why I am spiritual and I believe in a greater connection. I think that all religions are languages. Like they give us insight, but they're not the only path. They're lenses that we've used to understand the universe at large. And if we can't ask a question like the original energy that created itself did, like, what is this? What am I? What can I do? If we can't ask the same questions, then it's the wrong choice for me, not for you. But for me, it wouldn't work. I was like, I need something where I can ask questions, where I can dig deeper. I wouldn't be on this path if I just stuck with that class. I'm like, no, I need other teachers. I need other avenues. This is too confining. So that's how I got where I was. I kept asking too many questions. When I was a little kid, I giggled too much. When I was a little older, I asked too many questions. And I spoke too often. I don't regret that. Laughter is good. Questions are good. Keep asking. Keep laughing. All right. Let's see what else we can look at here and what else wants to come through. How to reconnect with hope is what is coming into my mind as I'm looking at this. So, because I know many of you are like, Nicholas, I don't know how to find hope again. Good answer. Six of Cups. This can be old connections that you haven't talked to in a while. So, over the past week, people that I knew in high school, elementary, college, graduate school, old jobs, East Coast, West Coast. All of a sudden I got the morning where it was closest to me, one of the fires, I woke up and my phone had like 10 or 15 texts. I couldn't. And that's why I was like, this week I'm not going to be producing a lot of new videos because I have to just kind of ground myself. We're going to look more into the grounding. But it's that. It's new and old. And also reconnecting. You may be the one that's reaching out and saying, I haven't heard in a while from you, or I could really use a friend, or I could really use some help. So create those connections. And there are resources out there, mental health resources, actual resources like, Red Cross or equivalents throughout the world. Whatever that might be for you, find the resource and get the support you deserve and you need. And the love that wants to keep coming through. We keep getting a lot of cups. We have had the Ace of Cups, the Two of Cups, the Lovers, the Six of Cups. So there's a lot of connective energy that wants to come forth, right? Okay. Yeah, I'm glad that the religion thing resonated. It's just like a language. French, English, Spanish, Sanskrit, Arabic, none of them are better. They're different. Some of them express things more eloquently, maybe, or more creatively. We have different rules in the different languages, but none of them are better or worse, really. They're just different. If we could look at religion as that, it'd be a lot easier on this planet. But it takes time. It takes time for that change to happen. Okay, what's your biggest block? That's what I am currently feeling at the moment. So what is your biggest block that could hold you back from being able to step into your power or the next thing? I want to look at 3. So one of the blocks is your voice. When we look at karmic, deep past, maybe even recent past. So King of Swords, fantastic energy, but we have to find the voice. And a lot of people try to clamp down on it, mute it, distort it, question it. And so find it again. Thankfully, again, my parents are in spirit, but they were always good about this. Even my dad, who I wasn't necessarily always close to, he's like, yeah, well, we're not going to, when teachers said bad things about me as a little kid, he's like, I'm not going to kill his spirit. I'm not going to make him stop laughing. He's happy. That's good. What's wrong with you? Thanks, Dad. I had good advocates. Not everyone has good advocates, right? They had other challenges where they weren't always perfect. My parents were not saints, but they were good in that respect. They didn't let other people bully me. So if you didn't have the advocate, I'm here today. We have a nice community here today, and I'm telling you, speak up. It's okay. Complain. But in a way that makes sense, like I want to see change. Speak up constructively. Community. We keep seeing community coming through. 3 of Cups, 2 of Cups, 6 of Cups, Lovers. So many cups today. But now the 3 of Cups is upright. So now it's no longer a challenge, it's an opportunity. Make new connections. If they're not there now, that's okay. Get involved. Ask yourself, where and how and when will I get involved to create these new and necessary connections in my life? Make room for joy as well. Have fun if you haven't in a moment. And then we get a receipt. It's like call and answer. So you're calling and reaching out there, and then the page is coming through and saying, here you go. I'm going to just open it up here to the cards. I'm going to take an oracle deck here and say, what do you need to focus on? I'll do this for a few more minutes, and then I feel like we've kind of done everything. Plus, this is emotionally intense for me. Whenever I do mediumship or whenever I tune in after something, like the Halloween one was the only other one where I felt this much sensitivity, but this one's pretty intense. What do we need to focus on that we're not already focusing on? Slowing down, slowing down for a second. So this card represents all things forward moving, power, swiftness, ambition. It isn't the time necessarily for all of that right now. You will rebound. We saw by the end of the week the Sun card. So I would say pause between now and Friday. Friday, you can start to re-engage with it. But when you're watching this live or the first few days of the week, recharge. Just like a phone, it needs to recharge, or your laptop or anything. So I had what I called a trauma nap a couple days ago, yesterday, and the day before. I went to sit down on my couch with my dog, and I lost like 2 hours. I woke up and I'm like, okay, I really needed that. Because it's intense for people that are in an earthquake zone, a war zone, hurricane, flood, fire, anything and it goes on for days on end. It's traumatic, right? So it's like, I couldn't deal. I had to shut down for a couple minutes. I was like, okay, a couple hours, and I felt better. And I woke up this morning and I was exhausted because this has been a lot. We keep getting alerts on our phones. I keep looking out the window and seeing new plumes of smoke. Like, I got to charge. You could be feeling this in your relationship, in your finances. It could have been a year where there was one thing after another. It doesn't have to be confined within like a 5-day period like we've been going through, however long this has been going on. But it could also be like a multitude of things over the course of 12 months or 15 months. So charge, ground, and restore your energy. What's the rush in getting to the next thing? Slow down. There'll be plenty of time to make up for lost time later, okay? All this stuff kind of doesn't matter in the moment. What else do we need to look at? This is a pretty good deck for identifying stuff beneath the surface. I mean, yes, this makes sense. Unity, teamwork, sharing the burden. So one of the things that makes ants so strong is their ability to work cohesively as a colony. Same thing with bees. Anytime you look at a communal sort of group of insects, even like a school of fish that we were looking at now it makes so much sense, more sense, because I needed this card to clarify. So when I was using the whatever that's called, mystical moment deck, and we had the 10 of cups and we had the mermaid and merman and the school of fish. So the reason that fish travel in a school is so that it's harder for a predator to get to them because there's more of them. So power in numbers, power in unity. Teamwork makes the dream work. You're stronger than you think. An ant can lift many times its size, rather. So you have more strength than you believe, but why put yourself in more of a burden than you need to? So we have like multiple cards here, the 10 of cups, the strength card, and yeah, that's kind of what I'm getting with that. And you can make it work with the power of others. What else do we need to focus on? So something really positive, and I'm going to look at a separate question for this because it's an outgrowth of what we're just talking about. Why is this going on? We'll look at that in a second, but big events in your life, the death of a loved one, the birth of a loved one, it cuts both ways, death and rebirth, the beginning or end of something significant. You think to yourself, what does this mean for me? Why is this happening to me? And what do I do next? So we have the soul fish here, it was reversed, but it's making us go into our subconscious. It's forcing us to deal with the moon. The moon wants us to cry, wants us to laugh, wants us to feel. It's okay to feel. And then fluidity. That's why the tears flow. There was a block. We have to let it out. Water cleanses. It comes through the tear ducts. Laughter. It comes out in vibration. Shaking, fear, it comes out in another form of vibration. All of these things are movement. It's moving something that's stuck. That's what emotions do. That's what a reaction does. So whatever your emotion is, and it can be the whole gamut, by the way, it's okay. At a funeral, sometimes you laugh and cry. You can both long for something and be happy it's over. Emotions are soupy and mixed up and nonsensical and inconvenient. But they're also very important because they move us through something. So see how you feel when the emotion comes through and swim in that emotion for a second and swim through it. Don't subvert it. Don't push it back. Just feel it and think, okay, good. I'm alive. I'm here. Whatever you're feeling, it can also be euphoric. So whatever you're feeling, good. That means you're alive. That means you're still part of the planet. Now, going to a tarot deck, I want to ask why. Or what was I looking at? Yeah, why me? Why this? Why now? To the best of the ability of the cards. That's a big question. Because you can handle it, because you are going to be okay, because it's time for something bigger to come through. So this is a sleepy strength card. Radical, instantaneous, inconvenient tower moments, which is what this was and is, happen to awaken the sleeper within you, kind of like the Dune movie. The sleeper is awakened. So when significant change happens, you cannot be asleep. You find strength and you awaken. It opens you up to reach out, to seek, to receive, to connect, to open the heart, because the Ace of Cups is the heart too. And then you rise up, and then you are the empowered energy that is Goddess of Wands. Very interesting that they're all divine feminine for the most part. I would say even Ace of Cups on some level is. So we are being asked to nurture and receive and awaken and decide what we want to do next, what we want to receive next. And yes, you can be assertive and be divine feminine, and that's what the Queen of Wands is. One of the favorite reasons I love this particular card. Also, she is able to create abundance in the least fruitful areas. So like in the middle of the desert where nothing's growing, typically you see the Queen of Wands. So we'll see like the pyramids of Giza behind her. She has all these magical flowers growing around her and this symbol of wisdom and intuition and being able to land on your feet, the black cat. It's not something to be feared. So you find power, fire, energy, inspiration, and it springs up like an oasis in a place where you normally wouldn't see it. So it's happening so you can find that oasis, which is really within, but then also kind of like share that with the world. I feel like I dealt with everything that I needed to. That's what my guides are telling me at this moment. So I'm going to look at, now you can ask one question. I always like to end on this, and then we'll just kind of do some meditation. But I'm going to do the final question first because I'm still in the flow. What is it that you need clarity on right now? It can be anything. Go ahead and focus on it because I can only do so much in a general. And let's see what the cards have to say. Past, present, future on this because we're in interesting times. So this is the answer. This is the stuff surrounding it. So the answer to your question is yes, comma, but it may require a change of course, change of mind, or change of direction. So we're going to talk about this, and then I'll go to the past and the future. Something in front of you just may not vibe. You may not like it. It may not make sense, and you need to ask one of those insightful, not yes/no questions. How, why, when, something of that nature, deeper journalistic questions. You may have to reach out and get something, ask for something. You may need to say no. So it's yes, but it requires a little bit of recalibration. The why is here. So the what is here. What? It's a revision. It's action. It's recalibration. The why is the King of Cups. He's not happy. It doesn't satisfy him. This is a beautiful King of Cups. He's saying, this does not meet my expectations, my worth, or whatever. And so he's trying to figure out how much of that is just emotional and how much of it, if it's actual, if it's like, no, this is what I want. Little kids will say, no, I don't want to. We shouldn't always force them to do something that they don't want. Interesting thing there. But sometimes they need to eat their vegetables. But when it comes to other things, like if they don't want to, this is really important. I think we've finally moved away from this. Go give your grandfather a hug. I don't want to. Good. You've got good boundaries. You don't have to. So there are certain things where we should respect if people don't want to. You probably do need to eat your greens, but you don't have to hug your grandpa. That would be where I would say one thing is required for health. That is a choice if you want to hug somebody. So that's kind of what we're looking at here, is how much of this is just kind of like, I don't want what's good for me, or I don't want it because it's not right for me. There's a difference between something that's good for your health and something that's not right for your well-being. And so we're looking at that. You have to ask yourself where it's at. Is it just inconvenient, or is it not correct and resonant with you? Once you have, we're going deeper today in everything, if you can't tell. That's why I didn't do the expanded forecast, because you get plenty of depth in all of this. But that's what you have to look at here. So this is the what, this is the why, this is the when and the how. As we look into the future, it's already moving. The when is now. The how is through community and connection, because 8 of Wands, even though it's not a cup card, is about connecting with others. Everybody works together. This is cooperation and collaboration. Where the 5 of Wands failed, the 8 of Wands succeeds, because many people are looking at the same thing and working in the same direction without duplicating efforts. So find something that represents that. People that are cooperative, collaborative, community-based activities and things in your life that feel like I'm in the right direction. And this is direction. So the next thing is to figure out where you want to go. I can't answer that for you. But like where, the when will happen fast. There's just a decision. Where do I want to go, and why do I feel like I might need to make this change? Okay? And this is a new deck, When Women Had Wings. I'll make sure afterwards I always tag it. People ask, where is it? It's tagged usually. So I'll do my best to tag them all so that you can get those. And those are affiliate links, which help too. So feel free to click if you like. Okay, we're good for today. And I made it through, which I wasn't sure if I could do today. I don't know what this week is going to bring. If air quality gets worse, I may temporarily go south or north or east. So if that happens, then I'll continue to do videos, but probably at a lower production quality, but I got to take care of myself. So far today, the air quality is actually a little bit better. It's still not great, but it's a little bit better. I usually keep that half drawn because there's a lot of glare out there, but you know, taking it a day at a time. My heart goes out to everybody in the world right now. We'll do a meditation here and then we'll wrap up with gratitude, but everybody that's going through something, whether it's wildfire, an earthquake, a mudslide, a divorce, a health incident, a breakup. There are so many things in our life that bring us to this moment of feeling like, what am I doing? How did I get here, right? I'd love for you to stick around for a meditation. We're not going to do a final card after this one, even though it says that. So just know that we're meditating. Thank you so much for the 1,200 plus people that are here. It's probably one of the most viewed one that we've had in a while. So let's do a healing meditation for everybody that needs it. We're going to focus on grounding and healing and kind of like planting a seed of hope. So that's kind of where I'm going with this. Close your eyes. Take a deep breath. Hold the breath for a moment at the top of your lungs and focus on someone, something, or a series of things that don't serve you. And imagine as you take a really big exhale that you're pushing them out like a volcano, like a plume of smoke towards the sun. You don't need it. You don't want it. It doesn't serve you. It's gone. Do this a few times. Don't get dizzy. Don't overdo it. 3 times is probably enough. With each breath, really fill up your lungs. Really focus on the thing that you don't need. And again, I'm seeing a volcano as I'm doing this. Just push it out. Let it go. We shouldn't fear fire, even though there's a lot going on. We're using it as a figurative element here. But a volcano lets go of pent-up energy. In this moment, let go of whatever it is that has been expending your energy in a way that you didn't want it. A relationship, a thought, a job, a habit. Because it can be any and all of those and then some. Let it go. Feel a sense of equilibrium that wasn't there before. And let's walk a little bit from this location mentally to the beach where we started today. Imagine that you're safe now. Whatever it was, the storm, the emotion, the fire, the tornado, the monsoon, whatever it was, it's gone. You're now at the morning after. You're on a safe stretch of beach. Your feet are in the sand. You're laying back. The sun is shining. You're creating a circle in the sand around your body, and you're reconnecting with the planet. One thing that you're thinking in this moment is, I am safe. I am whole. I am here. And that is something to be celebrated in this moment. You can add to the I am ready to heal. I'm ready to receive. I'm ready to move on. And over the course of the next week, look for synchronicities and signs to tell you when, how, etc. Keep asking questions. Anybody that tells you can't ask a question is the wrong person to be with right now. You should always ask questions. I'd like you to take a moment and put your hands on your heart. The heart, true heart color, we can use rose. You can imagine the red heart, but it's not really, it's green. So imagine that you're connecting with green, which is growth and abundance. And take a little bit of that, and I want you to plant it beneath you in the sand. And that can be a hope for something better tomorrow. Even if it's not here today, and you can feel angry, frustrated, all of those things are okay. Plant a seed of hope that 5 minutes from now, 5 days from now, 5 years from now, that things will look very different in your life. But it doesn't need to take that long, by the way. But just put a seed that soon, if not now, that you can start to see the growth happen. Just for the sake of the meditation, imagine that there's a swirling light coming out of that seed of intention, and you already feel enveloped by the first few vines and leaves and flowers of that growth. And you're going to carry it with you throughout the course of this week. When you're ready, gently open your eyes. Welcome back, everybody. Thank you for a very special reading. Like I said, I didn't know if I was going to be able to do it from my apartment today, but the air quality's okay. I'm here. I'm not in an evacuation zone. The electricity's here, so the powers that be wanted me to be here for you today, so I'm glad. Like and subscribe if you haven't already. I should actually put that first. Like and subscribe first if you haven't already done that. And then give me a follow across social media. I try to give you updates, and there's a lot going on, so it's a good time to follow me. I'm on all major platforms, including Blue Sky, and again, you can go to my website if needed. You can show love and support. I see some of you already have through Super Stickers, Super Chat, and membership. But also, today, if you feel in a giving sort of mood, give to your local charity or Red Cross or First Aid or whatever's out there that can help somebody. Do that as well. Call a friend. Be there for someone. Lots of ways to connect and give back today. Quick reminder, by the way, I don't give private readings and I don't use direct messages, so be mindful of that. I want to say thank you. We're going to take a moment here. First of all, thanks for just being here and showing up today. It means a lot. I'm going to take a couple of moments here to recognize those that gave back. Let me go ahead and pull up the right screen here. So I'm going to start off first with anybody that was gifted a membership or became a member or rejoined, and then we'll go to the next thing. Okay, so members first. All right, quite a few today. Thank you, and welcome everybody. This is a lot. Clearly we had some gifting, but hold on, it just got refreshed too. Okay, so today, welcome back, or simply welcome to the following: Melanie, Oliver, box of chocolates, Penelope, me, Zanoni, this Grant, Allison, Amy, Bob, Mermaid Crystal, Elif, I hope it is, Morgan, Makobi, Ravisha, sorry, Ninjish, Tamika, Tina, Richard, Small Wildflowers, Kufi, I think it is, Spirian, and Revive the Past, and I can't read past it because it got ellipsed, but that one. All right, let me go ahead and celebrate any sort of anniversaries or just acknowledge some of the comments that you gave me, and then we'll go to Super Sticker, Super Chat. Okay, so looking at the fan funding, what's going on here? All right. So it was Revive the Past and Preserve the Future. That was the full name. Welcome to that channel member. Karen Connolly, thank you for 48 months of membership. I know you've been here for a lot longer, but thank you for that. And Walk, thank you for 14 months as well. Thank you for the love and support. Let's see. Thanks, Lucy, for gifting a membership. I appreciate that. And I saw you gave a sticker too, and I'll call that out in a second. Michelle, thank you for 19 months of membership and the kind words. I appreciate it. Tahoe, good to see you. Thank you for the love to everybody for always being kind and showing up. Schoolhouse Intuitive, congrats on 7 months of membership. Thank you as well for gifting a membership, Schoolhouse. And Iso Gogo, thank you for gifting a membership. And Walk, gifting 5. You rock. I appreciate that. Schoolhouse also gifting another one. Lori, thank you for 17 months of being a loyal member, and you're welcome. Glad to be here. Tahoe, thank you for gifting 5. You're always super generous in that respect. Mira, 4 months of membership. I appreciate you, and I see you. Kristen, gifting 5 today. Thank you so much. Lorna, 39 months. Get out of town. I appreciate you. You're welcome. I'm glad I could show up. Lorna, thank you also for gifting as well. Let's see. Jackie, you're welcome for the empathy, and I'm glad I could be here. I'm glad I got through this today because it was a doozy. All right, let me take a look now at stickers. Again, I'm going to do my best to go through all of these. Big empathy and gratitude to Dakota, who's also an Angelino and showed up during trying times. So thank you, Dakota. Lots of love to you. Okay, so let's take a look at the stickers right now, if I can find it. 1 second here. I need to go back to a different tab here. There we go. Super stickers. All right. Thank you to everybody who gave back. I'm going to do my best to pronounce names. Lucy, Isogogo, Jackie, H, Lydia, Sarah, Jeannie Hart, Jenna, Monica, Lynn, Lisa, Angie, Adrian, Dee Dee, Right, and Fluffy. Good names. And thank you guys for all the kind comments too in all of your stickers and in all of the member posts. You know what? I just really hope today that everybody is safe, that everybody is able to stay healthy, and that really what matters most, you, your family, your pets, all of that is okay. Speaking of which, Apollo is in the other room. We'll let him be, but just hoping that all of your pets are okay too. All right, everybody, that's it for today. Thank you so much. Everything's going to be a little bit erratic this week. Hopefully I'm able to stay, but if I have to pick up and go a little bit south or east or whatever, I'll take my computer with me and a camera with me, and lower production, but we'll still start doing the next monthly videos and the daily videos. Safety first, right? Hope to see you all very, very soon. Take care. Much love and light. And again, thank you to everybody, especially all those in Los Angeles that showed up. And again, thanks to Dakota for his help today. All right. Bye-bye. Have a good one.